Can you see it? You're on.
Okay, I want to welcome you guys today. Today's live here.
Hey, Haas, we just lost you. We lost the microphone.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, hey, I want to welcome everybody as you all are climbing on here. Today we are live. I'm Haas Pratt, author of Listing Boss, the definitive blueprint for real estate success. Many of you have read this book. If you haven't, you're going to learn more about it today. But I've got a special person here joining me today, Lisa Copeland. Lisa Copeland is she's a fellow Texan. She is, as you're going to see, she is a force. She's an author. She wrote the book Crushing Mediocrity and many others. But she's one of the greatest sales trainers, experts, and speakers that I've ever seen. I've always thought highly of Lisa. I love sales trainers. I love people that have a passion for selling. And so what I sought out Lisa, I partnered up with her on what we're gonna maybe share. But I want you to know that I've been working on a very, very big project. Something that's probably why you haven't seen much of me for the last few months, because I've been in the trenches for you to help all of you make a lot more money, experience more freedom in your real estate business, and really give you the tools to thrive and to pivot in the new era where we're headed. And so I couldn't be more proud to bring Lisa on. She goes, Haas, I want to talk to you about your book, Listing Boss. I'm like, well, let's do it. And she has some great ideas. So what I wanted to do is introduce Lisa to you today, and also welcome you to today's Q&A. This is about Listing Boss. She's gonna, as you're gonna see, she's not only written books but have worked with several experts in her career. And Lisa, I'm open book today, so I'm gonna let you ask away. I know we're going to get questions from other people as you guys are coming on. You're going to ask questions. We'll get your questions answered. But with that, I want to welcome Lisa. Lisa Copeland. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you, Haas Pratt. First of all, it looks like we've got all kinds of people jumping on. I'm very familiar, y'all. I'm Lisa Copeland with this software. It's called StreamYard, and it's fabulous. And so I want to encourage you to put in comments, because I'm going to be able to stream them across the bottom. And so this is your chance. And it might be your only chance to talk to Haas, because as I got into the group and he made me an administrator, there was even somebody out there wanting to make sure he was okay, because they hadn't heard from him in so long. And so anyways, it's kind of been our running joke, because what a powerful group Haas has, and of loyal followers, loyal fans of the book, The Listing Boss. I am a licensed realtor, but my background, a couple years ago, Haas and I met because we work with the same media company out of New York, who came after both of us, and they work with people like Grant Cardone and Mel Robbins and Judge Janine on Fox News and Kendrick Shope and Steve Harvey. And I don't know, for some reason they thought, Haas and I should be in that same category. So we met a couple of years ago because we have the same agents. And of course, because we're Texans, we always kept up with each other. And so like all of you, I've been following Haas. I had a pretty illustrious career in the automotive industry. My team broke a world sales record, but I sold my store. I retired, went on a speaking tour, did a TV show in Canada. But the whole time, as of about 3 years ago, I was getting these emails from Haas Pratt, who I, again, had met through this agent, this agent we have. And I got one a couple of months ago, and it really piqued my interest, because you see, y'all, I was ready to pivot. Now put some comments up there. I can see a bunch of you are on, but put some comments out there so that I can put them up and we can answer some questions, and at least let Pratt know, at least let Haas know that you're in the house. But I started watching Haas's stuff, and I got a real estate license because I own a pretty large mortgage company here in town, and I have for 20 years. And I reached out to Haas, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he told me, and I jumped in my car, and now here we are partnering up. All right, here we go. Now, y'all, this is coming up as Facebook user. In that stream, or in that post, it says, click here to give StreamYard permission to post your name. So lots of people are climbing on right now. We want to be able to acknowledge you. I want to be able to put your name up on the screen. I want you to be able to ask Haas questions about his book, because all of you are fans or you wouldn't be here. And but you got to click the button to give StreamYard permission to use your name. So that's a little bit about me. You're going to see a lot more of me. I spend a lot of time. I do a lot of business. with social media. I did when I was the #1 car dealer in the nation. I have as a speaker, television shows, all kinds of stuff. And so I'm trying to convince Pratt today. Pratt, I keep saying it, Haas today.
You can call me whatever you want, Lisa.
I call you what I want to. I want to convince Haas today the power of social media. I want to convince him today the power of this group and how we can leverage each other's authority and expertise to pivot, because we've all got some important pivots to make in the next 90 days. And that's where we're going to spend some time in this group, pouring into this group of Listing Boss fans, Haas's fans, and helping you pivot. So throw me some comments in there because the numbers keep climbing. So anyways, throw me some comments. So that's
put in the comments, y'all. Give us some love, give us a like, give us a heart.
Yeah,
we want to see y'all.
So you see that, Haas? So that's how it goes.
That's awesome. Great stuff.
But if they would click the button, then I'd have their name and their picture in there.
Okay, wonderful. So Haas, click the button, folks.
Yeah, push the button. Hey, so let's just dig in because I'm super excited. I love this book. Here we go. Now they're coming in. There's Phil. Phil, has it been a long time since you've seen Haas in this group? Are you the guy that said, hey, are you okay? Sincerely, heartfelt, meant it, and Haas didn't even answer him back. I called Haas, I'm like, your people are worried about you.
I'm alive, y'all. I'm alive. I'm not talking about it. I'm being about it. That's what I do, Lisa. I get in the cave. I do the work. I mean, you know what it took to write this book? Hours and hours and hours of sitting.
It's not easy.
Yeah. Sitting here, organizing my thoughts, thinking about each and every one of you and what you need to thrive and succeed in real estate. And that's what I do. And not only did I do the work in this book, but also with the opportunity, Lisa and I are building a national organization of real estate agents. What we want to do is we want to help agents thrive. And that's why I brought Lisa in. And you are going to see a lot more of her and me and for you, because we're all here for you. So thank you all for joining us. Becky, Phil, good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So you can obviously see their names, but because y'all, I'm the one running StreamYard. Why don't we go ahead and click that button at the top of the post that you jumped on? It says give StreamYard permission, because here's another one. Hello, Haas and Lisa, looking forward to this information. So we don't want to spend any more of your valuable time talking about us. We want to talk about you and how we can help you pivot and go to the next level in your real estate career. So Haas, I want to talk about the book Listing Boss. Okay, I have become like a super fan. I listened to this webinar that you did with your previous mortgage lender because I'm out every day for an hour to an hour and a half, getting my steps in, doing all of that. And I'm like, oh my God, anybody can do this as long as they follow the process that you have set, that you've put into place. It's right. Easy. But you know what I found training sales professionals and speaking to Fortune 5 companies all over the world is that we can put the process in place. We can bring the horse or the Haas to the water, but you can't make them drink. So I want to talk about, I told everybody earlier, get your books out. We have about 25 people on here live right now. Get your comments in there, y'all, so I can put them up on the screen so Haas can answer your questions. He's the author of the book. Why don't we start with chapter 1, create a vision. If you're working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. Steve Jobs, very famous quote. So why don't we just start there? Why don't we talk about, Haas, creating the vision? How do we create the vision? The 2020 vision. Like, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm kind of like, man, I think we need to jump to 2021. But, start with that. Chapter 1.
Yeah. And I'm going to, and my answer may surprise you because, for me, when it comes to vision, you don't always know the direction you're going to be and how you're going to get there. The people that are going to come into your life to help you get there, the resources you're going to have. So like when it becomes a vision, it's not so much knowing the end or the how you're going to do it. It's more of what you want to experience. For me, my vision is I want to experience massive freedom and I want to help other people do that. But I want to live a lifestyle business. I want to be able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want. and I'm going to go to work on myself, and I'm going to do what it takes to become the best version of me that I can possibly become. And I set out on that vision ever since I was a teenager. I didn't know that I would be an author of a #1 international best-selling book at 17, 18, 19. I didn't know that when I sold real estate. I didn't know that even, as I sold my real estate business and became a speaker. I didn't know all that those roads would lead to. So when it comes to vision, you need to know what you want to experience. So for real estate agents, for example, your vision needs to be that you get clear with what you're willing to do and how you want to live it. So in next year, for example, 2021, I would say now, because right now is the greatest time to build that vision. But you got to take the action. And so get clear with what it is that you want. Be open-minded. Know that you're not always going to know the steps of how you're going to get there, but know where you want to go. I've always wanted to be successful, and I always wanted to help other people succeed. And I was always willing to do the work. Still am to do. That vision has taken me places that I could only imagine. I couldn't imagine. And as long as I do the work, that's the most important part, and it will pull me directly towards that vision of where I want to be.
So one of the things that you talk about in chapter 1 about building the vision is, the elements, right? The things that you need to get in line to be successful. And you say it's #1, it's your business. #2, it's your physical health. It's your spiritual. It's your educational, right? Like you've got to build that authority brand.
Can I go on this? What you're saying here? Because you're right. Being successful doesn't mean making money. It's a part of it. Being successful in all areas. I'm reminded of the time I remember when I was first setting goals in real estate, and I had a mentor, and I sent him my goals. And I said, I want to own X amount of offices. I want to recruit X amount of agents. I want to do this amount of volume. I want to buy this many rental properties, and boom, 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 all about real estate, taking over the world. And I sent him my goals. And I remember I was so proud of those goals when I sent them. And then he replies to the email, or however I sent them, and he said, the Brinks truck doesn't follow the hearse. And it sunk in that, and I was like, what does that mean? And come to find out, that's just what he meant, is there's more to life than just business. There's more to life than making money, and you got to have a balanced life, meaning in the book, I talk about the 9 areas, which are your business goals. Know what you want in your business. Your business is simply the vehicle that funds your life. Our business is not our life, because if we think that the business is our life, everything else will be affected. We'll sacrifice our health. We'll sacrifice our relationships. We'll sacrifice everything to do it. And so I am passionate about teaching people to have balanced life, from physical health, your spiritual side. I've never met somebody that was fulfilled in life that did not know a higher power. Why do I say that? Because I know it's important. Every successful person that I've met, I looked and see, are they happy? Are they fulfilled? And every one of them that I would model all sought a higher power. And I know how important that is, not only to my life, but other people's. Your educational side, meaning growing. You don't know what you don't know. So it's important to always be growing, know who you want to become. Family, relationships, personal, financial, lifestyle, and mental attitude. These are the 9 steps to a balanced life. So when you're setting goals, you would set goals in each of these areas. And I know there's resources here as well within the Listing Boss group that you can access that will help you, that will break down these areas and will allow you to set goals in each of those areas. But look, there's more to life than business. And there's more to, money is not going to make people happy and fulfilled. And when I look at success, I look at a successful life. We have one life, and we're on this earth, and it's one life fully lived. It's to become the absolute best version of yourself and experience things that you couldn't even imagine. And that's what I want to encourage everybody to do. That's why I do what I do.
Right. So, so Haas, and I love that. So one of the things I would encourage everybody who's on here right now, right, is to take notes. And so the one thing is that you've got to get the house in order. You've got to get the house in order. because right now we've been living in a state of chaos, between a pandemic and riots and civil unrest and all the things that are going on in the world and in our country right now. It's very easy to let that overtake us. So step one today is get that house in order. Make a goal. Say, what are you planning to do as of, we're going to give you a hall pass because all through June, we're going to visit with you on Tuesdays. We took off yesterday because we felt it was important to honor what was going on in the country. But every Tuesday at 2:00 Central for the next 4 weeks, we're going to cover the book, and we want you to get a clear path to success. So think about July 1st, how you're going to hit the ground with your set of goals done by the time that we get through the book. All right, Haas, what's a habit that you have on a daily basis? Just throw us one. And I'll tell you mine. A habit that you've got on a daily basis that you do that helps build the house, that makes you mentally strong, physically strong, and keeps you motivated.
I read and listen. Like every night I go to sleep with an audiobook in my ears. Last night I went to sleep listening to The Game of Life and how to play it. I've listened to this book hundreds of times. I got my nephew here staying with me. He's from Missouri. He's staying with me. He's 13. Yesterday, I went to him. I said, before I went to bed, I said, I want you to listen to this. I want you to go to bed. So I'm trying to, also not only do it, but teach other people to do it because it changes your life. I mean, I believe that it's like motivation. Really, it's not even motivation. It's really just it's the education, it's learning, and it's reminding yourself. I mean, and every day I read and I listen to something. And usually, Lisa, it's the same things. I mean, I listen to Think and Grow Rich all the time, Outwitting the Devil all the time, The Game of Life and How to Play It all the time, Jim Rohn all the time. And those are the people that I learn from. And so my habit is I learn from the people that inspire me, that I'm impacted by. And truly, I am. I listen to those people because that's all I need, for me to find my answers. And I told somebody this yesterday, to turn down the noise. Stop listening to everybody, especially in social media. I mean, you have so many people to listen to, and if you're out there listening to everybody, you're going to get all sorts of different direction, different advice, things that contradict, and so find the people that you want to listen to and read from and learn from, and just be consumed by them. Like, if you love Listening Boss and I'm your guy, great. I want you to listen to every word that I say. And same thing with Lisa. If Lisa's your gal, I want you to read everything that she does, every single thing that she puts out there, because I believe that's the way to truly transform. I don't believe that you need to know everything from everybody. You need to know just enough to get you moving in the direction that will inspire you to take daily action. And that's really the most important thing, the daily action.
It is. So y'all throw your comments up there. Come on. We got a lot of people on the stream right now. I can see you. I see you, but you got to put your comments up there.
I want everybody, by the way, to put a comment in there. Like, I want to see it. So Put a comment in there. Give me a yay. Tell us where you're from. Ask a question, any question. Engage. Don't be a fly on the wall. We want to talk to you.
Yeah, come into the game. One thing I want to encourage everybody to do, and it's something you and I we really are aligned on, as we think that our thought leadership comes from mine and yours both from the great Napoleon Hill. And so I would just say, for those of you who are not out there and you're not engaged in, whatever, I would say, and I think you'd probably agree, Haas, is that start with Think and Grow Rich. You can read it in an hour and a half tops. It will change your perspective.
Look at these. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Carolyn. And, let me tell you something. Speaking of my nephew, I was, he's 13 and I mentor my nephews, and like people have mentored me. And I told him the first thing I said, he's staying down here. I said, you got to read Think and Grow Rich. If you're staying with me, I need you to read 20 pages of Think and Grow Rich every day. And so he's doing it. And Lisa, when you came up, I asked you a question. I said, what is the book, the single book that has created the most millionaires? The book that transformed the way that most millionaires think. So everybody that I've talked to, like that's a millionaire, that's super successful, I've asked that question. I took my nephew to meet my mentor, Tony, and Tony's, coached and trained thousands of CEOs. And I said, Tony, what's one book that he must read that everybody that wants to succeed in life and do it with certainty, what's the one book that most people would say that transformed their life? He says, Think and Grow Rich. And 9 out of 10 times, you're going to get Think and Grow Rich. It's to me, the framework of thinking and the modeling of success. When you read Listing Boss, know that that's straight from, that philosophy of Think and Grow Rich. And, I learned so much from that, and I wouldn't be where I am without that thinking. It's like the definiteness of purpose. It's the mindset, and it's looking at fear a certain way. Fear's the devil, as in Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. And that's what I am. I'm a force for God. And I want people to look at fear that way. Fear is Satan himself preventing you from getting to where you want to be. And so if anybody wants to succeed and thrive, they must aggressively remove fear from their life. And don't fear anything. Have faith. Go be bold and expect great things to happen. You see, that foundation and that mindset is the foundation of success. And so what I do every day, Lisa, is I remind myself of that.
I love it. And, one of the things that I would like to, I'd like to build on that just a bit, in the fact that, danger is real and fear is a choice. So there are so many times that we get so wrapped up in fear, and it's Hill talks about it, it's limiting beliefs. And it's like, well, I know Haas can do it, but I can't do it. Well, I'm of the opinion, if Haas can do it, I can do it. And there are just times in life where you've got to take that first step, y'all, and you have to do it scared. You got to do it scared, because the fear is something that you may not be able to put on the shelf. So you're better to take one small step by step every single day and do it scared than to wait for the fear to subside. And then once you make progress on that is when the fear starts to subside. So again, You want to do it scared.
I told somebody this the other day. When I was the best decision I ever made in my life was leaving with the place I grew up in Missouri and moving here to Dallas. Not so much Dallas, just anywhere, right? Getting out of the nest. And I remember when I packed up my things, I left a business. I was making 6 figures as a teenager. I started a lawn service from scratch. I was making 6 figures as a teenager. And I barely made it through high school, by the way. I didn't go to college. And I remember the day that I moved, it was November 15th of 2001. And what happened was I left that place. And I remember being here and sitting in my 400 square foot apartment that the bed folded out of the wall. It was a Murphy bed. And I'm sitting there, and all I had was my suitcase and my TV. It was a 36-inch JVC TV. I remember it. And I remember sitting there thinking I could be anybody I want to be here. And I knew that, but I remember hitting a wall and me feeling like I made a mistake. And it was really my fear. And I remember I called my dad and I said, "Hey, Dad, I'm thinking about moving back. I'm going to move home. And, I think I made the wrong decision." And he's like, "Come on back. We'll figure it out." But then you see, I had a guy named Jimbo in my life at the time. And Jimbo has since passed away, but he was a millionaire. He was my mentor. He was the architect of me moving to Dallas and getting out of my hometown. And I remember I called Jim and I said, "Jimbo, I'm thinking about moving back. I made a mistake." And I was belly aching, and he says, "Are you done?" I says, "Yes." And he goes, "If you move back, you'll be the laughing stock of the town. If you move back, you're going to be the biggest effing loser that ever walked the planet. And if you move back, it's going to be the single greatest mistake you've ever made in your life." And he hung up the phone. And in that moment, I decided I'm never moving back. And you see, if I'd moved back, I look at the blessings that I have in my life, for my family and what I do for work and how I help people. And it would have been the greatest mistake of my life. But you see, that was fear. Satan himself was saying, "Move back. Don't become Haas. Don't go help all those other people. I need you back to what you know. I need you to stay comfortable. I need you not to see your true potential."
Because the devil wants you to play small, right?
Small.
knowing that that the influence that you've got and the ability of what you're going to have to influence millions of people on some of this stuff that we're putting together. But that little devil that sits on your shoulder and, is telling you, y'all, in your ear, play small. You're not good enough. You don't have the right education. You're not as smart as this person. You're not as well spoken as this person. And you've got to do this. Okay. Otherwise you're going to play small.
And know this, you can. Let me tell you something. If I can do it, you can do it. If Lisa can do it, you can do it. Like, I started with all odds stacked against me. And how I got to where I am is a daily decision to do the work, a daily decision to go on faith, a daily decision to be bold, a daily decision to take action, a daily decision to be around the right people, a daily decision to go to work on myself. And that's really what it is. And you look back over a year of doing that, your life is going to be transformed forever. You're going to become somebody that will never go back to that old version of you. And that's what I want to inspire people to do, Lisa, is to become the best version of themselves that they possibly can. And that doesn't end. That continues your entire life, your entire lifetime of learning and working on yourself. It doesn't stop when I'm 50. It doesn't stop when I'm 80. And that's what I would encourage people to do. And that's what I hope to do throughout my career.
Well, that's a good transition to chapter 2, which is develop a top producing mindset. Right. And so basically you talk about the 2 kinds of mindsets. So I'm going to let you get into that. After all, you wrote the book. Look at that, y'all. He's having to look it up.
Yeah.
I'm already
I was actually
reading a lot of books. I always have to look up my stuff too. So I'm totally messing with you.
No, and here's the thing. And I'm looking at this right here.
Yes, that's what I'm looking at. See?
I want to give you an example. Let me give you an example of this. So I just want to give you an example of where this mindset came. And I didn't create the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. I didn't think of that. It was something that I read, I learned. And I want you to know that there's 2 different types of mindsets. The growth mindset, and it says right here in the book, a growth mindset is failure is an opportunity to grow. I can learn and do anything I want. Challenges help me grow. My effort and attitude determine my abilities. Feedback is constructive. I am inspired by the success of others, and I like to try new things. You see, that's like 2% of the population have that mindset. And 98% of the population have a fixed mindset. This is where they think failure is the limit of your abilities. You're either good at it or you're not. Your abilities are unchanging. I can either do it or I can't. I don't like to be challenged. My potential is predetermined. When I'm frustrated, I give up. I stick to what I know. You see, those people are controlled by fear. And that's where fixed thinking comes from. And so the only way to thrive and succeed and become the best version of yourself and to do big things is to embrace a growth mindset, knowing that you can achieve, accomplish, and do anything that you want in life and business. There's absolutely nothing that you can't do. And once you understand that, it empowers you. And that mindset is everything, because a lot of times, every time people decide who they want to be, a lot of times they just decide right straight up, I know I can't do that. And so what do? They don't do that. And I remember this. I want to talk about how that came about. I remember when I was writing
Fired
listing.
up, y'all. Look at this. See, you guys haven't seen him in months, and now look at him.
Yes. By the way, y'all, put some comments in there. Comments,
on, y'all.
hit the heart, hit a like, give us some engagement. So let me tell you where this came from. And this is straight Think and Grow Rich. It's the law of attraction. It's the dance. It's the way of success thinking. I remember it was Christmas time. I was writing Listing Boss. And I went up to Missouri, and I took my nephew to Barnes & Noble. I grabbed a cart, and I went through the aisles of business, of mindset, of philosophy, and I grabbed all my favorite books, and I put them in a cart. There's probably 20 or 30 of them. And we were sitting there getting ready to check out. That was his Christmas present for me. And I said, I want you to read all these books this year. And he did. But I was sitting there, and this lady comes up and goes, wow, look at all those great books. And I was like, yeah, I know, right? She's like, man, I read that one. She goes, have you ever read the book Mindset by Carol Dweck? I go, no, I've never heard of that book. And she goes, it is probably the most powerful book on mindset I've ever read. And I looked at my nephew and I said, Ty, whenever somebody comes up and does that, I want you to know that there's a purpose for this. Like we are supposed to read that book. And I was like, we're going to go get the book. And what I do, I went and got the book. Then I learned she talks about a fixed mindset and a growth mindset in that book. And that's where I learned it. And I put it in my book, Listing Boss, and how you would apply it, to your own life in real estate. And, that mindset is everything to possess a growth mindset, because you see, fear doesn't exist in a growth mindset. It's hard for fear to thrive in a growth thinker. Fixed thinkers are controlled by the fear, right? Fixed thinkers are the ones, when I moved to Texas, that said, "Oh, you'll be back. Everybody that leaves comes back. I give it a month. You're going to come back just like everybody else." That's a fixed thinker. The fixed thinkers are the ones that think, "You really think you're going to do that? Like, you can't do that. You're not that person." That's what people do. And they're surrounded by you, and they're your own family, and they're the ones that you love the most.
It always starts with your family too.
Always.
They're the worst. They're the worst, y'all.
Yes, they are the worst. And it's not their fault.
No.
They love you.
Right.
They try to protect you. And so they put their fixed thinking on you. They don't even know the difference. Mm-hmm. So what I need, this is why I tell everybody, I mentor a coach, I need you to get on the other side of that and go become the best version of yourself. And what will happen is you will inspire all of those people, but do not subscribe to that way of thinking.
So fear is an acronym, right? There's two different ones, y'all. There's face everything and rise, which is the one that I like, or false evidence appearing real. But
or F everything and run.
Yeah, and everything and run, right? Yeah. So you've got to think of fear as an acronym. So one of the things, Haas, that you've got in chapter 2 is that it's almost like you've got this self-talk. I am blessed, I am well able, I am successful, and it's like a mantra or something. Do you read that every day? Do you? Yes.
So it's the affirmation. It's planning good.
Affirmation. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word, to be honest.
Affirmations. Yeah. It's the good seeds. So, I have those things laminated. I put things, on my mirrors in my shower, I keep them in front of me in my car, and I remind myself, of those. And because it's an everyday battle. That's the reason I put good things in my mind every day, from reading to listening, because it needs to be something that happens every day. And affirmations, what will happen is you will become that. You will change, and that's how it works. I'll give you an example of this. One of the things I told my nephew is I was like, I'm going to work. When I come back, I want you to write down 100 things that you want to do, accomplish, and achieve in your life. 100. He's like, 100? I'm like, 100. And he did. And he started writing everything down. And he didn't get to 100. He got to 35. And he's sitting there. Now he's like, man, what else can I do? What else can I think about? And here's what I told him. I said, what's going to happen is you are going to accomplish every single one of those. You're going to look back in 10 years, 20 years, and you're going to look at that, and you're going to accomplish every one of them. And that's how it is. The seeds are planted. And when those seeds are planted, they grow. And there's something magic to success like that. Like, setting goals is like that. The affirmations is like that. And the universe will go to work on giving you what it is that you want. But if you don't know what you want, you don't know what you want to become, you're not going to get anything.
And, I want to really challenge you to make those big, audacious goals. People talk about vision boarding, and I'm not a vision boarder, but I do know people that have gone back to their vision boards.
That's a vision board right there.
Okay, they go back to them 10 years later, and they're like, I've got that Lambo. I've got that. But what I do when it comes to the affirmations, which I just could not think of the word, I swear, is that every single morning I write down the first 25 things that come to me. Like, what are my goals? 25. And I've got, y'all, seriously, I've got boxes of these. And, again, I had a team that broke the world sales record in the automotive industry. I was put on the board of Chrysler by the chairman of the board of Ferrari and Chrysler, right? But I said, and there's a video in the universe before I ever became a car dealer that said, I want to have the car dealership that's the #1 car dealer in the world. It's on YouTube. Like, I said it 2 years before I was ever awarded the dealership. And so it's, and I didn't even remember it, and somebody sent it to me. And, so if you don't put it out there in the universe, no matter how big and audacious it is, and don't play small, play big. You want to be the #1 realtor on planet Earth. You want to build the biggest team in the country. You want to do $100 million this year in listings. Put it out there. The more audacious it is, the better chance you have of fulfilling it. If you play small, you'll always play small. Then you have fixed thinking.
I want to share this because I just showed you my vision board. I have a family vision board. It sits right outside. I'm at my home office. It's sitting right here. And probably 3 weeks ago, it was packed. But one day I was looking at it and I was like, we got to take this stuff down. I've achieved every single one of these. And I took down every single thing that I already achieved. And if you look at it, it's almost blank because I accomplished every single thing that was on my vision board. And what do we do now? We go know what else we want, put it up there because it's out of thin air. It puts it into existence. So, and you know what, though, Lisa, a lot of people think this stuff's cheesy. You know what I'm saying? Goals, affirmations,
mindset talk, woo-woo.
Mindset talk.
Yeah.
Those are the fixed thinkers.
Yep.
Okay. So if you're somebody and you're sitting there like, oh man, this again, you're a fixed thinker. Like, and growth thinkers, we love this stuff. You know, when Lisa and I talk, we talk about this stuff. High achievers. When I go meet my mentors, we talk about this stuff. We're not playing small. So thank you for whoever said that, Carolyn. You're awesome.
No, please hit the StreamYard link. Please hit it so we know who you are, because whoever says I'm amazing, like, we need to be friends, but I don't know who you are because I can't see it.
I can see it. It's Carolyn out in California.
Well, God bless you, Carolyn in California. I hope you're out of quarantine by now. That governor of yours is a little out there. On page 51, I'm sorry, we're Texans. What can we say? We have our own country.
Unapologetically.
We are running it right now. You must become a skillionaire before you can become a millionaire. That's something you and I have talked about a lot, Haas.
Spoiler alert. This is my next book right here, y'all. My next book. My next book is Skillionaire.
Yeah.
No, it's happening. It's going to be out here soon. So be on the lookout. But here's the thing. And you've got to become a skillionaire before you can become a millionaire means this. Go to work harder on yourself than you do your job, as Jim Rohn says. But it's about developing and mastering skills. And if you do that and you go to work on yourself, put yourself at the place and the environment that's going to require you to become the best you, what happens is skills are made. And I want to just give you how to do skills. Here's how you build skills. There's 4 levels of this. The first level is you don't know. Like, you don't know what you don't know. Information, anything, right? I mean, some of you may be hearing some of this for the first time. Some of you maybe have already heard it before. Great. That's number 2. Now you know it. See, a lot of people will, don't know about the book. They get the book, they read in it, but you see 3 is the most important because that's experience what you know. If you read this book without experiencing what it is that I tell you, it'll never become number 4, which is a skill. You see, the skill is the most important part. Skill is on the other side of experience. And most people miss the skill because they're not willing to do the experience. What's the experience? Spending 3 hours on the phone every day prospecting for listings every day for years. That's what I did. I've knocked hundreds of thousands of doors. I've done thousands of seminars, webinars. I've written books. These are skills because I've experienced it. You know why I've been quiet lately on social? Because I've been experiencing, I'm building, and guess what's going to happen? It's going to come out, boom, another skill. And that's what I would encourage people to do is do the work, and do the work, feed your mind, and you're going to become a skillionaire. And skillionaires ascend their skills. So, let's say selling as an example would be, let's say you could sell one-on-one. You could prospect, you could set appointments. Great. Then let's say 1 to a few is the next level where you're presenting, let's say to a husband and a wife on a listing presentation, right? You have, it's 1 to a few, but you see on the other side of where we are as a whole in business, there's the next skill, which is presenting 1 to many. Selling and presenting 1 to many is a skill that every salesperson needs to ascend to. And presenting 1 to many is about doing this, right, Lisa? Like, we're presenting 1 to many right now. Doing seminars is 1 to many. Doing webinars is 1 to many. Doing video is 1 to many. Facebook Lives 1 to many. And so this is what being a skillionaire is all about. It's about continuing to grow, continuing to master skills, the highest paying skills, that is. And you'll become a skillionaire. And what does that person do? They attract millions.
That's it. But everything in life that's worth having, it isn't just about a mindset. It's not just about a vision board. At the end of the day, y'all, you've got to do the work. You've got to be committed to do the work and I agree with Haas 1,000,000%, is that, and I know Jim Rohn says it too, but you've got to work on you. What good does it do if you get to work and you're working so hard to make somebody else rich? I figured that. I mean, I made my first million when I was 30 years old, when I launched my first mortgage company. It was like, oh no, I was running a big company called North American Mortgage, and I had 12 loan officers, and we were doing all this, and I was getting 30 basis points. Right. And I made $300,000 or $400,000. It was okay. But I'm like, I've just made the house $1 million too. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? So I worked on me. How do you work on you? Because there's no better vehicle for wealth, than real estate. Everyone's got to have a place to live. It's much more stable than the stock market. It's the easiest thing in the world if you know what to do. But people, especially now, they are looking for authority. They are looking for authority brands. They're looking for people to help them, invest. And that's what you've got to build, is that authority brand. And that comes with being a skillionaire. Because once you're a skillionaire, you understand how to build an authority brand. Once you build an authority brand, then you become a millionaire. I mean, it goes boom, 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 just like that.
Why do and I want to add this, because some of you don't do the work. Some people listening right now, they're watching, they don't do the work. Some people do. I remember I was interviewing somebody that was for one of my podcasts, and he was an NFL player, and now he's a speaker, author. Like, he's makes millions now in a whole other field. And I asked him this question on the interview. I said, well, you've done a pretty good job going from the NFL to the marketplace and building something of value, and you've done that. But why do so many people, athletes, for example, on the other side of the game, they fail? They can never succeed. They're not. I mean, where do they go? I mean, they lose all their money. I'm like, and I asked him this question. You know what he said? He goes, "You know why that's the case?" I go, "Why?" He goes, "Because they think that they're better than everyone."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, like that. Okay, that's ego. Like, that would prevent you from making calls. How, let's say, for example, if I play in the NFL, I'm probably not going to pick up the phone for 4 hours and prospect for listings.
Right.
Why? Because, I mean, I've experienced the highest of highs. I've been in a Super Bowl. I mean, I'm not going to go do the work. And so here's what I would tell you if you're not doing the work. Do you think you're better than the work? Do you think you're above the calls? Do you think you're above getting in the trenches? Because I'm not. Like, I'm willing to go to the dirt. I don't think I'm better than anybody. Like, I will do whatever it takes, not because, I want to, but because I have to. And I don't think I'm better than that role. And I think that's such an important distinction, Lisa, is that because people's ego is what prevents them from doing the work. And there is nothing worse than having an ego so big that you get to a place later in life and you have nothing to show for it. You think you're a skillionaire, but you look around and you have nothing to show for it. Like, that is not a fulfilled life. And for me, I want y'all to see that, because that is an important distinction. Do you think that you're better than other people?
Okay. So that's one perspective. Let me give you perspective number two, as somebody like you who has trained thousands of sales professionals. Fear keeps people from making those phone calls. It's the fear of picking up the phone. It's the fear of, well, I can't talk to you right now, and they don't call back. And so I don't disagree with you when it comes to the ego, because there's certainly plenty of that when we look at businesses, high profile businesses like real estate. But there's that fear, and you've got to get that fear under control, y'all. And this book, Outwitting the Devil, a Napoleon Hill book that actually spawned off of Think and Grow Rich, because Napoleon Hill says people fundamentally know what they're supposed to do and they don't do it. Okay. And that is, Hill talks about that there's a 2% club in the world, right? And there are 2% that in the book, the devil says, I can't affect those people. They are so solid in their thoughts and in their processes, and that they don't let fear paralyze them. I can't affect them. He says, but I don't need to, because I got the other 98% right here. All right. And you've got to make the decision that if you want to pull through this thing, this pandemic, this global uprise, whatever we're going to call it, if you want to pull through this, you've got to step over the line, and you got to come into that 2% mindset, that 2% club, which is what we're going to help you do. over the next several weeks as we start talking about what we're putting together. But we can't do that for you. You've got to make the commitment to step over that line, check your ego at the door, but then maybe acknowledge the fear. Because again, with the thousands of salespeople I've trained all over the world, Bloomberg, Citrix, like they've all brought me in to do it, to get their teams unstuck. Okay. When I get in there and I'm with the VP of sales, and I talk to these, the managers, they're stuck because they're afraid. They're like, oh, my price is higher, equate to real estate. Well, I have to charge 3%. There are discount brokers out there. There's Open Door, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? With all
Who cares?
People buy from people they know, like, and trust.
Yep.
But you've got to build that brand, and you have to get past the fear. So it's the ego and the fear, Haas, that I believe are holding people back. And we're coming up on time, so I want to hit chapter 3 as a good segue.
No, you're right. Fear and ego. That's what it's all about right there.
But you know what? Those are the tenets of the devil.
Yep. Totally.
Because those are the two ways that when you talk about, and guys and gals, when we talk about the devil, we're talking about the proverbial devil, okay? In the fact that everybody's got that good and that evil and that yes and that no, and all of that all through us, right? That negative, that positive, right? And there's always that voice here going, you're not good enough, da-da-da-da-da, and the voice here saying, I want to try, but I'm scared, right?
That's exactly what happens in every single every human brain. That's the conversation that's taking place.
But I'm telling you, y'all need to get that book. A dear friend of mine annotated it for Napoleon Hill, Sharon Lechter, who is the founder of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad Empire. In fact, I'm going to go see her next Friday. I'm going to the ranch.
Awesome.
Yeah. And, but it's a conversation between Napoleon Hill and the devil. And I'm telling y'all, you read the book, you're going to believe that he had an encounter, that this book is prophetic. But it gets down to, at the end of the day, the devil's not going to mess with the 2% because he knows he can't touch them. He can't touch them. They're not his. They're not his to have. It's the 98% that he can absolutely run havoc with, that he can destroy their families. He can destroy their dreams. He can destroy their financing. So you've got to commit. If nothing else, you guys have just met me for the first time. You got to commit to want to come into that 2%, that 2% club, that 2% mindset. Because once you do that, the proverbial devil, he's not going to mess with you anymore because he has the other 98% to deal with. That will always be uncertain, that will always operate in fear, that will never have a big thinking mindset. They'll always have limiting beliefs.
Thank you. By the way, y'all, don't you love Lisa? She's amazing, isn't she? Yes. I mean, you are like
preacher.
No, I'm like a preacher too, Lisa. But these are the type of people I like to hang out with right here. Why? Because right here, with this person saying, who is that? Eugene, positive mindset. That's exactly right. I mean, they say it's lonely at the top, right? This is the reason why. And we have to surround ourselves with people like me, like Lisa, like you. So that's why we are committed to doing more for you, so you can be exposed to that, not only through books, but also through shows like this. So we have another chapter, so let's do it. You two, thank y'all. Yes, Carolyn. Thank you, Ann.
I just want to see if anybody out there notices my Cowboys cup. I'm a Dallas, Texas girl, even though I live in Austin, Texas. Okay.
Yeah, you're from Dallas. That's right.
Yes.
Hey, Ann says, I am guilty of fear. Looking forward to being part of the 2%. That's right, Ann. You know what it starts with? Awareness.
Wow. She said it.
Yep. It's awareness.
She wants it. That's all it takes. Okay. Chapter 3, y'all. Maximize your time and effort.
So in this is we all have 24 hours in the day, and especially in real estate, there's activities that you should do, activities you shouldn't do with your time. I'll give you an example. In my real estate business, I've never worked a buyer in my life. I've never taken a deal from contract to close. I've never done any of that. You know why? In fact, I didn't even go to office meetings. Why? Because I was on the phone. I was doing my high leverage activities. I was prospecting, presenting, building relationships, and leading. And so in your day, you want to structure your day in real estate, here's your high leverage activities: prospecting, presenting, building relationships, and leading. Everything else is a waste of time. Everything else will get in the way of that. So we have to structure your day in a daily method of operations that's the same every day to maximize productivity and effort. And it's got to be a routine. It's a routine that you become, it's habitual. You're militant in protecting it. And the more you could get into that daily method of operations of leveraging, if you look at my day, for example, it's prospecting and presenting and building relationships and leading. And all of those things are done in a day. So I give you an example, 9 to noon every day. When I sold real estate, every day I was on the phone, minimum. And from 4 to 7, I was on listing appointments. If I didn't have any appointments from 4 to 7, I was back on prospecting because I needed appointments. You see, in real estate, you are a glorified telemarketer, folks. You need to look at yourself that way. Like, I've never met a successful agent that didn't prospect every day. And prospecting is something that you have to do, and you have to structure it. So I don't go on listing appointments from 9 to noon. Why? Because I'm on the phone prospecting for new business. And that happens every day. Lisa, I have never missed a day of prospecting in all my life in real estate. Never. And the reason is because if I had 200 calls today and I didn't make them, that means I have 400 tomorrow. And then I know I won't, you can't make 400 calls in a day. So it wouldn't happen. So every day, that's what I did. And it's a routine. Even today, I eat the same thing for lunch. I eat the same thing for breakfast every day. Like, I have routines. I usually wear the same clothes every day because I take all that, the Skillionaire and Listing Boss t-shirts, but it's the routine. And if you can put yourself and create a daily method of operations by organizing the highest leverage skills and activities, then that's how you're going to succeed. If you go throughout your day and you didn't prospect, you didn't present, you didn't build relationships, and you didn't lead, it's going to turn it into another day and another day and another day. And, if you sit too long, the weeds overtake the garden, meaning don't sit, do. Be action-oriented, not outcome-oriented. Don't worry about where your next closing is going to come from. Because if you're doing what you can control, which is your activities, then the closings are going to come. You're going to. That's what happens to the person who prospects for new business every day, who has listing appointments every day. Closings are coming. So don't worry about the outcome. Just focus on the action and expect a great outcome. And that mindset for me is something that I've always done. I let the chips fall where they may. If I went bankrupt today, I did everything I possibly could. I would be okay with it because I didn't sit. I didn't let the weeds overtake the garden. And that would be my advice to all of you as far as your days, what you do. Get in the trenches, get in the jungle, do the work, and just do the action. And in order to do that, you have to organize that day into a daily method of operations.
Okay, I like that. And then kind of the yin to the yang. And some of the things that I'm going to be sharing with y'all as we go through this is that I have made 7 figures through marketing through social media. And I'm not talking about paid ads. I'm talking about building influence, right? And being an influencer within. And so we're going to talk about that. Like, you've got to do the basics. You've got to set that phone time out there, and you've got to do this, you've got to do that. But, I do a lot of business because people know who I am. I do a lot.
Well, this, right, Lisa? This is a sense of prospecting for you, right?
Right.
Yeah. This is presenting. This is, and I know there's different ways to look at it, right? But like, when I was selling real estate, we didn't have social media.
I know, that would be terrible. I can't even imagine.
I mean, when you sold cars, right? And before social media, y'all were on the phone, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. And well, back in the 80s in Dallas, I was in the phone book having to have phone time. But in 2010, when I was the one who launched Fiat and Alfa Romeo back to America. We did have social media and kind of like Grant Cardone, who's a friend of both of ours. I maximized it. I had a smaller budget. And so if you can build that authority brand, and we're going to talk about that as you get to know me, and as Haas is coming back into the game, because he's lifting out of the fog, because he's gotten a lot of this stuff put into place. We're going to talk about our 2 different perspectives, and they've both been wildly successful, and help you blend those and help you create something that's natural to you. It's natural to me is like after this in 30 minutes, I've got another one. I have a huge group of mine, and I'm going to show them how to create a landing page and a website, just because I figured it out. So I'm going to share with my people and my tribe. So we all communicate differently. And what we want to help you do is find your niche. But at the end of the day, you've got to be in front of people, whether you're in front of them on the phone, if you're in front of them in a Facebook group, if you're in front of them. But it can't just be rubbish, right? You've got to bring value. You've got to bring content. You've got to bring authority and expertise, because then people will want to stay in front of you. If you're just on to hear your teeth rattle, then you're not going to build a 7-figure business. Right?
Exactly right.
Okay, so we are wrapping up. And Haas, this was fun. What was it like being in your own group live?
I love you guys and gals.
Oh my gosh. And yes, what, y'all, he's alive. He's kicking.
You know what though? What I've done, I want to leave y'all with this. So
I feel bad for him. It's like,
yeah. By the way, y'all, give us your comments on the way right now. Give us your comments, your feedback. Do y'all want us to continue this? Does this help you? Is this valuable? Will you tell us? I see how many people are on live. I want y'all to type it in there, put it out there. Is this something that you want to continue to see? So here's what I've been up to. I've put together what I believe is the greatest opportunity in real estate today. I have recently, for the last few months, I've been putting together this opportunity for people. I've brought in people like Lisa, Tarek El Moussa, right, Lisa, from Flip or Flop, from HGTV. He's the #1 celebrity in real estate. We have tons of other celebrities that are joining this organization, because I know this: credibility, authority, celebrity, all of those things are important. And I want y'all to know that I've put together these people to be able to help you in a way that I could only imagine what it's going to do. So what we want to do is we're going to be sharing with you more about that, but it's an opportunity to partner with myself, with Lisa, Tarek, and others, influencers and celebrities, to help you create the ultimate value proposition and to create the ultimate business model. And I couldn't be more excited. Yes, I have been silent for a few months because that's what I do. I do the work, and I've been on airplanes, putting the deals together and like putting the systems together. And that's where we are. And that's why, Lisa's a part of this, because you all know, look at this. Great. People love it. They love you, Lisa. Well done. Yes, continue. They like it. And that's what we're going to do. And we're going to continue this. But, and I'll tell you more, if you want to know more, then you could, I want you to get in the game, and I want you to be a part of this. And when we come in here, be live and learn, because we want to help you. And not only do we want to help you through our time, but we also, want to help you through our opportunity. So Lisa, thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you. It's very nice to officially meet you. And I'm anxious to start getting involved with the group and, just bringing value, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's what I want you to do. I want you, Lisa, to do what you do. I'm going to, and I am as well. And you're going to be hearing a lot more from us. And so we are committed to doing this live, especially going through Listing Boss, the book, for the next 3 weeks. So Lisa, when can everybody join us next week?
Okay, so I am going to put the show in the group when we get off, so that we can do a countdown clock. There is a reminder button on there, so you can, it'll ping you and say, hey, Lisa and Haas are going to be live. But for the next 3 weeks, it'll be on Tuesdays at 2 Central in the group, right? Tuesdays, 2 Central. Hit the reminder button. I will put the show up on this in it, so you have like a countdown clock so that you remember. But mark your calendars, be accountable. If this is what you like, if you're running an office, if you're running a team, get your team on it, because the best time to catch us is live, because then you can bring your questions in, but you can always catch the replay too.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. You're a rock star.
Thanks, Haas.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye-bye, y'all.